I think Halloween has come early this year. These two are a fright. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter and Bland Designs, and welcome to my weekly vlog for Monday, April the 4th, 2022. And it is vlog number 259 and the 755th is what I mean, day of COVID. Yes. And for those of you out there who think it's over, it's not. We're moving into what it sounds like now, a sixth wave. Don't know how our government will handle it. Wait and see. Okay, what's my current projects? Well, as you probably know, if you're a regular follower, this past weekend I was on an in-person retreat. More about that. Sponsored by Ultimate Sewing, my local quilt store. And we had a lot of fun at that. And as I said, I'm going to talk a little bit more about this later on. And if you caught Stephen and Walter live yesterday, you heard a lot about the retreat there as well. So I don't intend to rehash everything we already discussed for an hour and a half on Stephen and Walter Live, but I will show you a few pictures that I was not able to show yesterday on the live. So moving right along here, let's show you what I worked on when I was at the retreat. And this is it. I finished this quilt top. Given that the background of this quilt is a black fabric, and the picture's not really showing it up very well. The black fabric in this quilt, if I blow it up a little bit, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. If you look up in here, you can see little lines, little gray lines. So it looks like there's the fabric has some texture. But this was a pattern that I bought online. It's a Robin Pickens pattern. She does a lot of very modern types of quilts. And when I first saw this pattern, I thought of Christmas. And I was going to make it with Christmas fabrics. But I wanted to get on with it, and I wasn't in the mood to do Christmas fabrics right now. So I just used a jelly roll. And it is a very jelly roll friendly type of pattern. And yeah, I worked on it over the 3 days of the retreat. Now, I did pre-cut the pieces before I went to the retreat, so I just needed to assemble it. But it did take all my time at the retreat to really do this. And I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Yes, the stripes on it look a little wonky, but that's only because I took a picture of it at the retreat and I sort of hung it on a wall and over a display thing on the floor, so it kind of went wavy. It is not wavy, it is straight. Later today I'm hoping to trim it up and then get it ready for quilting, and when I do the quilting part of it, I will be sure to show it to you then. Okay, so that takes me to the YouTube channel of the week. And I think I may have mentioned this last week on one of my vlogs, probably on the Idiot Quilter, that I have ordered a new toy. Yeah, well, when don't I order new toys? I decided that I was going to buy myself an AccuQuilt. An AccuQuilt is a die cutting system for cutting fabric. And I'll say more about that in the Idiot Quilter this week. I am hoping that I can pick it up on Tuesday along with all the accessories, and I will show that to you next week on the vlog. But in the meantime, there are many of you that tune into my channel because you are quilters, and you probably know about AccuQuilt, but you may or may not know that AccuQuilt actually has lots and lots of YouTube videos that will help you out. There seems to be a YouTube video for every one of the dies they've ever created. So I'm just going to review that information for you now. This week's YouTube channel of the week is one that has to do with a new toy that I just bought, as I've been describing, and that's the AccuQuilt system. And the one thing that's really wonderful about YouTube is that for any product you buy, and you want to learn more about it before you buy it or after you buy it, you can go to YouTube and there's probably some videos about it. Well, AccuQuilt isn't any different. And AccuQuilt, for those of you that don't know what it is basically a die cutting system for quilters. It cuts your fabric. Now, you probably are familiar with other die cutting machines, like anything from Sizzix, the Big Shot, Tim Holtz's Vagabond, etc. And those are ones that are dedicated to paper crafters. But this one is dedicated to quilters, and it makes cutting your fabric so much easier. So I just bought a system, and I'm going to do a demo on the Idiot Quilter about this later on. But right now, I thought I would point out the AccuQuilt YouTube channel. Now, this channel has tons and tons of very helpful videos. And one of the things I like about it is they look at each of their dies that they have come out with and show how to use them. And so basically, any die that you may have purchased from them, there will be a companion video to go along with it. In their playlist, their organization here shows you they have educational classes, limited series events, mix and match series, the cubes. Everything is listed here. It's all very, very well organized, and the videos are very clear, very professional, and show you exactly how to use your system and how to use the various dies that you can buy with it. So I suggest to you, because this is a very pricey investment, that if you're thinking about buying an AccuQuilt, why not check out this site to learn more about it before you put down a lot of money for something like that. So that's AccuQuilt. So the link for that YouTube channel is in the show notes below. There's the link for this week's Stephen and Walter Live. There is a link for my latest Idiot Quilter Presents Musings and the Idiot Quilter episode 160, where I talk about In the Hoop Applique. Those were all last week. So you can check those out if you haven't already seen them. And there is a link for Craft and Chat, because this is the first Wednesday coming up this week, April the 6th of the month, and that means it's always Craft and Chat time. And so the link is there, and those of you that are regulars to Craft and Chat know what I'm talking about. Those of you that are just hearing about it for the first time, because I do have a lot of new subscribers lately, and I'm enjoying having new people on here as well. So Craft and Chat starts at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it runs until about 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so about 3 hours. And we just get together on a Zoom and work on whatever we're working on. It can be quilting, sewing, knitting, crocheting, art journaling, collage, painting, scrapbooking, whatever. It doesn't matter. You could be cleaning out your underwear drawer and reorganizing it for that. It's time for you to do what you would like to do and what brings you joy. And we talk as inevitably people do when they get together for something, and share ideas. I always learn something, as I tell people before, from it. And it's just fun. It's very relaxing, no drama. We don't get into politics. We don't get into COVID situation, anything like that. We just talk like human beings, like good friends, getting together for coffee kind of a thing and sharing what we're working on, and away we go. So all are welcome to join us if you can. And so the Zoom link for that is in the show notes below. And for those of you that are on my mailing list for it, I will be sending out shortly after I do this recording today, the link for the Craft and Chat as well. So, and if you'd like to be on one of my mailing lists, Craft and Chat, pop-up sew days, which I haven't done any of those in a while, but I am planning possibly the weekend after Easter, I may do one. And for my retreats, next retreat will not be until the fall. But if you want to be on the mailing list for any of those things, just let me know. And my email is in the show notes below too. And don't worry, I do not send you emails or messages or give your information out to anybody else. I only use the mailing list to give you the link for any of those events I have coming up. Okay, so that takes me to looking out my window this morning. So let's just see if we can get that up. And there it is. Sorry for the fogginess look. That's really because my camera's looking through a window and it's the glare from the sun this morning. But that's one thing that's getting better these days. The sun is up a little bit earlier in the day now, and it's 7:53 when I took this picture this morning. You will notice there isn't any snow. It's it's looks like it's going to be a nice bright day. It's still reasonably cold right now as I make this recording. It is 0 degrees Celsius. But it is April the 4th, and it's beginning to get a little bit more spring-like weather. Doesn't mean we couldn't have snow yet, because that does happen in April. But right now, it's nice out. No ice, no snow, and even the grass is turning a little bit green, just a little here and there. And in another month, that tree out there will have budded, and yeah, before you know it, we'll be back into nice warm weather. And I'm looking forward to putting on my short sleeve shirts and my shorts and my sandals again. And I'm hoping this summer is going to be a nice warm summer. It would be good to have some good weather for a change. So yeah, so that's what's outside of my window today. All right. So that's taking me to what's pissing me off this week. Well, with spring, right now here in Ontario, Canada, we are entering election season. Yes, it is time for us to choose our party to rule us for the next 4 years at the provincial level. Well, we've been ruled by idiots for the last few years, and the biggest idiot, Doug Ford, is running again. And of course, he's running off with his mouth as he always does, making promises that will not be kept. And he's trying to butter up all the citizens to vote for him. So he's offering things. Let's see, last election he offered buck a beer. Yes, that made my mind made up that I was going to vote for him. Not, a buck a beer. There's an election campaign to stand on. Really, that's important in our life, that we get beer for a buck. And guess what? It didn't happen. It happened for about a week. Yeah, and it wasn't all beer that was a buck a beer. But who cares? That is not solving world hunger here, or helping out with the homeless in our province, or all the other things that we need, increasing money into healthcare, into education, all those things, buying protective equipment for frontline workers during COVID, that kind of stuff. Yeah, none of that happened. What else are we promising, though, to warm us up? Well, let's call it a buck a baby. He's been negotiating his term with the federal government. The federal government is creating a sort of a universal not healthcare, but universal daycare kind of system in our country. Now, I'll tell you right up front, I don't care. I don't. I don't care about what people spend on daycare. And I know this is going to get a lot of people upset that have children. One, I don't have children. But I know that my parents managed to raise 3 children without daycare. Yes, 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 it was the 50s, the 60s. It was another time, blah, blah, blah. My mother didn't go out to work. She was at home. Yeah, all that stuff, cry me a river. Well, guess what? There's one factor here. It is not the government or anybody else's responsibility that you had children. You made a decision to have children. That decision may have been made after a second bottle of wine one evening. I don't know. I don't care. But I know my tax dollars are going to help subsidize daycare. Yeah, I know. Both parents have to work to afford 2 cars and a nice big house, and to eat out dinner, or have skip the dishes come and deliver it to you every night because you're so worn out from your job and you got to feed your kids, and your kids have to have the latest, Xbox games and everything like that, and blah, 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 blah. Cry me a river, you had children, big deal. I'm sorry. That's the way I feel. And no one's going to change my mind about it. Yes, I don't know what it's like to raise children. But I made a decision not to have children. I could have had children. I could have. I made a decision not to. So, whatever. You made the decision, you put it up there. But, anyways, I digress. So, the provincial government's been negotiating for the amount of money that the province is going to get from the federal government for this kind of thing. They finally closed the deal. It's kind of ironic that they've been working on this for quite a few months, and all the other provinces had already struck a deal with the federal government, but not Ontario. They kept holding out. And now, just before, they get into full election mode, they announced that they've made the deal and that by the year 1 million or something, it's only going to cost $10 a day for daycare. Well, I don't think that's going to happen. And it's funny, all the government, whatever level they're at, they always make these big promises, but they give you this date, and this date is way into the future as to when this promise is going to be fully met. Well, that usually extends beyond their next election, the next election we have. And if they get into power, suddenly they forget about that, or circumstances at that point change things, like, other things are costing more money than they really expected. Or if it's a new government in there, the party that was in power before us left us in a worse state than we even thought it could leave us in. So we've got to, fix that all up. We got to balance the books. Has there been any government in Canadian history that's ever balanced the books? Deficit is a way of life for politicians. So, yeah, so this is a pie in the sky promise there to suck in all of the people that have children. Okay? Well, other promises. Yes, he's eliminating the license sticker fee that we have to pay every year to renew our license plates on our cars. In fact, he's giving us back some money if we renewed it in the last year or two. Walter just got a check from the government for $320 because he renewed for 3 years. And so it's retroactive back to whatever the date is. I renewed for 2. I haven't seen my check yet. But that is a source of revenue in this province. You can't tell me that they're not going to rob Peter to pay Paul, because that's what they're doing. They're going to make up for that loss of revenue somewhere else. So it's smoke and mirrors. So people are going, yay, I'm getting back $120, $240, something like that. Ooh, wow, great. Thank you, Ontario government, for that. Yeah, as soon as they get back in power, there'll be a new tax on something, or there'll be something hidden in fees that'll go up for whatever. So, yeah, they're going to do that. Another promise. Oh, they're buttering us up. They're going to put so much more money into getting people certified to become doctors. They're going to, help them out with their tuition fees and things like that because Ontario needs more doctors. They're going to change the licensing so that people who come from foreign countries immigrate here that have doctor's credentials can get into the profession easier and all this because we need the doctors. Well, they're right about one thing. We do need the doctors and the nurses and hospital support staff and more money into hospitals. So every election comes around, they talk about how much money they're going to inject into our hospital system and how that's going to vastly improve it. And again, they have these deadlines like by 2030 there's going to be this many new hospitals and this many new doctors out there. But this isn't 2030, and 2030 isn't next year. This is 2022. That's 8 years down the road. 8 years down the road, usually our parties stay in power from anywhere to 3 to 4 years. That's 2 elections away. So, as I said earlier, if the government that made that promise gets back in, there's going to be some reason why they can't meet that deadline, and they're going to hope we forget about what they said. Or a different party gets in power and they're going to say, well, we can't do that because the last government left us in such a bad financial situation. It won't happen. It just won't happen. And this isn't anything new. We've heard these promises from politicians before. In fact, Everybody knows it's a common thing. Election promises were made to be broken. We know that. But do they think we're that gullible? Are we that big as suckers? That is not how I vote for a party. Maybe some people do, but you're idiots. If you really believe that any politician at any level of government in this country, whether it's municipal, provincial, or federal, will actually deliver on the promises that they make just before the election day, you gotta be crazy. It's not going to happen. So that's not how I vote for them. That's just blah, blah, blah. This is how I vote. I pick for the least evil of the parties because they are all evil. They do not give a shit about us. And I've said this before, the only thing politicians care about is keeping their job, paying lip service to the public so that they get their big paychecks and a really, really nice pension after about 6 years in power, that they hold their seat. Yes, our taxes at work here. You know, I think I understand now why there is a certain percentage of our population that don't vote. Now, my philosophy's always been if you don't vote, you have no right to complain because you did not exercise your right to put the party in power that you want. However, I understand kind of why they don't vote. It's simply because they're all a-holes that are going into power. And it's almost like, does it really matter? Does your vote really count? Because all the parties are evil. So, you know, you're just picking the lesser of the evils when you vote. At least that's how I vote for it. So, I don't know. I guess in a sense we are suckers because we've allowed this to happen. We abide by the election rules. We put the idiots in power. But I guess what's the alternative? So, yeah, I'm looking forward now to a whole lot of television commercials about the election. They've already started. I've already been getting emails asking me from certain parties to send the money. What? Yes, send the money to help support their campaign. You already get enough of my money. It's called taxes. I don't think I need to give you any more money for that. And you just keep taking it anyways, whether I give it to you or not with my consent. You take it. You just take it. So, you know, forget that. And of course, then the surveys will happen on the phone, you know, the robocalls that come in. And if the election was happening tomorrow, which it is pretty much, well, not physically tomorrow, but you know, in 2 months' time, who would you put in power? Or they want to know about policy. They do all these surveys, and I never understand why. Because they don't act on them. Is it meant to make us feel like we have a say? Because we don't. We really don't have a say. They're just paying lip service. They're just buttering us up to get us to vote for them. So yeah, so that's what we're for the next 2 months until the 1st of June. We're going to be inundated with all of this campaigning stuff. And there's going to be pie in the sky promised to us left, right, and center. And the day after the election, the pie will have crumbled and been thrown out. Yeah. So are we suckers? I'm afraid so. Afraid so. Okay, let's move on to product review. Well, I did buy some fabric or online last week, and it came in, and I'm just going to show it to you because this is a really masculine looking line of fabric. It's by Northcott, and it's called Heavy Metal, and you can see why it's called Heavy Metal, especially in these two with the gears. Now, one of these is a panel, and I really liked the panel, and so I need to, and I got to make a note of this today, I need to see if there is a pattern to go with this panel, or I'll make up my own. But I bought 2 meters of the entire line. And as I said, I love gears in things. It's got almost a steampunky like look to it. Um, but these colors and these patterns, I think I could make a very masculine looking quilt with those. So I picked those up and I've got to get them on my shelf. I haven't folded them correctly yet. I just left them as they came so you could see them. Um, Now, the other new toy that I have purchased, let me put it up here. And there they are, the beginnings of my switch over from PC to the world of Mac. Now, I already have Apple devices, so these aren't a big jump, but this is my new iPad. I bought the iPad Pro 11-inch, and I'm really, really happy with this. This sucker, well, it's got a really clear screen. It has better speakers in it, a better microphone. It is just all round better than what I was using. Now, mind you, what I had before was a fairly old iPad, and I loved it, and I'll still be using it. I just put it over where my original iPad was. It is now retired, over with my sewing machine that I use when I do Zooms and things like that. But I really like this one. I bought the little stand that it's sitting on. Before I had one that was on an articulated arm, and it was a suction cup, and the suction cup just doesn't suck as well as it used to. So this one I bought from Amazon, the stand, and I really like it. It's articulated too, so I can put it in various positions. You will notice at the top of the iPad is an Apple Pencil. Now, I did debate whether to buy one of these because they're a pricey little item. They're about $169 Canadian for it. And I thought, well, I don't do a lot of drawing on my iPad, but I watched some videos about it and it does so much more. And it's great if you want to do in certain programs handwritten notes, and it'll just convert them over if you want into text. So I got that and I've been learning how to use it, and I do like it. Now, below that, with my name on it, because I got my stuff personalized, they engraved them for free. My pencil, you can't see it, has my name on it as well. The back of the iPad has my name on it, and these are my Apple earplugs, buds. I've never had uh, Apple earplugs before. These, of course, are wireless. I'm a little behind the game when it comes to this because I know lots of people have them, but I had a set of wireless headphones before, buds, that I hated. They worked okay, but they kept falling out of my ears. And these ones I really love. I love. They just pair right up with your devices in seconds. You recharge them in the case. That's what I'm showing you here. And the case is one of those ones that you can set it onto a charging pad. I think a magnetic charging pad, or they call it, and it'll charge them when they're in the case. In fact, they have to be in the case to charge them. I really like them, although I had trouble with them staying in my ears. Then I figured out I was putting them in wrong. I'm an idiot. I saw a video on how to do it. You kind of put them in your ear, and then the little stem that comes down from them, you're supposed to sort of twist them in your ear so it runs parallel with your jawline. And yes, that does make a difference. So, like I said, I'm a little late to the game for these kind of earplugs, but I really, really like them. So all I'm waiting for now to come in, I have all my accessories, extra cables and things that I bought. I'm just waiting now for the main event, for my Mac to arrive. All the things arrived earlier, these so far, than the actual date they said they were going to come with. So I'm wondering if my Mac will too, because it's actually not supposed to arrive until the end of April into the first few days of May. So I'm hoping I get it sooner than that because I'm anxious to get playing with it and all that kind of thing. But in the meantime, I have the iPad and I'm loving this one. I'm absolutely loving it. Did I tell you I love it? Yeah, I love it. Okay, so those are the new things that I have, and I do have the AccuQuilt, as I already mentioned, on order. I'm picking that up tomorrow. You may be saying, my God, you spend a lot of money. Yes, I do. But I got an inheritance, and I'm just enjoying it. okay? And I'm not going to make any excuses for that. I'm being careful with it, but I'm enjoying it. Okay, moving on. So for the 3D corner this week, do I have anything to show you? Surprise, surprise, I don't. Oh, I was too busy getting things ready for the retreat. So I have all my Easter little decorations that I showed you last week all done now. And yeah, got to look for some new projects to print on the 3D printers. So for the first time in a long time, my printers are sitting over off to the side here, completely silent. So, you know, you may have noticed on some of my videos, you hear a little buzzy sound or something, and that's usually the 3D printers in the background working away. Not today. Okay, that takes me to Blasts from the Past. This is continuing our trip to Melbourne in 2018, Melbourne, Australia. And this is day 7, and it was February the 11th, 2018 when I did this video.
Okay, so we just did a Walter and Stephen live from Melbourne about a few minutes ago. And we're out and about now on our last day in Melbourne, and we're headed towards the Contemporary Art Gallery. And we'll see what's there as well. And if you didn't catch Stephen and Walter live, then you can catch it on the replay. It should be up, so you can check that out. And we'll see what we see today. So this is inside the ACCA, which stands for Australian Contemporary something art. Ooh, can we get one of those? What is it? Okay, so these are dresses that just say it all. What is that?
I think it's like an oyster that's left laying out in the sun.
Ooh. It's kind of gross. Hey, hetero, get married because you can. So we're here at the Arbory, which is where we were last night. We're supposed to meet that person for drinks and everything, and we got stood up. So we've come here for lunch instead. It seems to be a very popular place, especially at night. So we'll see what the food's like. Walter's gone up to order it. The menu's really kind of limited. So So once again, having a hamburger. I've had a lot of hamburgers and a lot of pizza since I've been here. So we'll see. And this is just one of the many lanes. Places to eat, places to shop. We're packed right in today on Sunday, $100, I guess. $70. This is a big department store. Depends. Not sure how to say it. Shopping in Melbourne. Some kind of street festival.
So that takes me to what events happened in the past week. Well, the big event was the retreat, sponsored by my local quilting store, Ultimate Sewing, and organized by the hostess with the mostest, Donna. And you know, if you're a regular viewer, that Walter and I were sort of the entertainment as well. And you saw in the teaser our alter egos, Matilda Mudslinger and Gladass Happy Bum, and more about those two girls in a few minutes. But first of all, I want to just highlight some of the details. We talked extensively about the retreat on Stephen and Walter Live yesterday. So I'm not going to get into all that stuff again. This week's So Chatty version episode, we will be discussing, virtual retreats over in-person retreats and some other things that we didn't really talk about on Stephen and Walter Live. So if you're interested in more details about that kind of thing and our thoughts and feelings about it all, and also why we're not going on another retreat, little teaser there, you'll have to tune into So Chatty to find out what I mean by that. But we did have a really good time at it, and yeah, everything went. You saw the quilt. I got that done. Walter got a couple of shirts almost done. He was working on those. It was nice to see other people. I am a little worried. The fact is that we all started off with masks on. We were socially distanced in the hall, but of course, restrictions have been lifted. A lot of them here in Ontario about that kind of thing. One of them was like the dining room at this retreat. They had been putting only 3 people at a table, but we were now 6 people at a table. Nobody was wearing a mask. This except the help, the staff were. We were wearing a mask when we entered, but of course, when we started to eat, we took our masks off. And as the days went on, we weren't wearing masks. Now, everybody was vaccinated for this because that was a requirement for you to attend. Um, Everybody had been checked out to make sure, no one had any symptoms, but, these new strains and whatnot. I'm just hoping that we weren't stupid and foolish, and I hope we are not going to get anything. Walter and I are triple vaxxed, as you know. So it was nice, though. I have to admit, it felt like pre-COVID days for the most part. However, I hope we're just not going to regret that. Anyways, time will tell. So, what am I going to show you? Well, like any retreat, there were things to buy. And of course, I bought a few things. Of course I did. I bought some charm packs. Do I need more charm packs? No, but I love charm packs. And, they're good to have. I think they're good to have. That's my rationalization. I got a fat quarter bundle. As you can see there in the background, that's Cafe Facet Fabrics, and you know how much I love Cafe. Also, a box of Floriani embroidery threads. That's trending colors. And of course, I need my Floriani for my embroidery. And 2 books, one called Fat Quarter Friendly Quilts. Well, both of them have to do with making quilts from fat quarters. Because I still have that big box of beautiful and luscious fat quarters that Walter bought me for Christmas. And I'm looking for a design that is worthy of using those fat quarters. So I bought these 2 books because there's some patterns in these 2 books that actually I think I might like to use. So we'll see. And then I bought a design wall. Now, you can make a portable design wall from a cheap vinyl tablecloth that has a flannel backing to it from the dollar store. And I did. I bought one. Ironically, I bought one of those a day before we went on the retreat. And then they had this. I knew about these, but I'd sort of forgot about them. They're by Fons and Porter. I haven't taken out of the package yet, but essentially, that's what they are. They're a big flannel sheet, in a sense, that has holes in the top of it so you can hang it up, and it's supposed to work really well. Now, Donna, the hostess with the mostess at the retreat, she owns a couple of these, and she loves them. So I purchased one as well, and I might do a demo about this tomorrow on Idiot Quilter. I'll get it out later today and try it out and see how it works out. So, yep, I bought a few things, but then there was more. So, these came in the swag bag. Everybody got a bag of goodies. And here they are. Now, I have to say, okay, it's a freebie, so don't look a gift horse in the mouth, kind of a thing. But really, most of this stuff I have and I don't use already. Like at the top there, you see there's a seam ripper. I have a lot of seam rippers. You see these colored little plastic things. Those are all a form of bobbin holder that you use with a spool of thread that keeps the bobbin with your thread. And the ones that look like a little coil, those are basically to keep your thread from coming off your spool of thread. Well, I don't use those. I've had them before. I've tried them. I find them a pain in the butt. And most spools of thread have a little groove cut into the spool itself or a little mechanism at the bottom that will hold your thread in too. So, yeah, kind of useless. But anyways, they were free. A marking pen, some safety pins, a pen. This pen is really cool. I have a couple of them because they are a pen that at Ultimate Sewing they give out to customers. And yeah, it's a good pen, but it's got a little level on it. I don't know if you could use that to level a quilt. You don't usually do, but whatever. And a little ruler on the side of it. But, and I didn't know this, I'm an idiot. Walter showed me. If you unscrew the end of it, the far end of it away from the point, it's a screwdriver. And it's a screwdriver that has a flat head and a star head to it. Didn't know that, which will be very handy to keep with my sewing machine. So, the best thing about the things I got for free in this swag bag is that pen. I also got some knockoff Wonder Clips, and I've had this brand before and they work fine, so I can always use more of those. And there's these little sticky things, which I have used before, that you put on the back of your acrylic rulers and keeps them from sliding around on your fabric. So those are good to have too. Now, the little blue box, I thought this was sort of ingenious. One of the ladies at the store, I think, suffers from migraines, and I think medication or something for them comes in these little boxes. And instead of throwing the box out when the medication is gone, they basically put the store logo on it, and it's to put your spent needles in, because you don't want to throw your needles in the garbage because they could hurt somebody, okay? Because they're sharp still. They may not be sharp enough to sew with, but they're sharp enough to puncture a human being's skin. So you put them in that, and then eventually you can send them out to the recycling thing, place, whatever, afterwards. Now, I keep my old needles in old pill bottles, but this is just another way to do it. So that's kind of, I thought that was kind of a great idea. And then there was a couple of little pamphlets that just tell you about, you know, sewing needles and a brand of thread. So, and oh yes, and then there was this bundle of fabric, which is nice to have. It's kind of ugly fabric, but you know, I don't know. I haven't actually unrolled it yet to look at it really closely, but it's still fabric, and you can always use fabric, even if it's not to your taste. In small amounts, cut up, it can work for things. So it was free. So don't look a gift horse in the mouth, kind of a thing, because I appreciated it, regardless of most of the stuff I'm not going to use. But I could give it to somebody else, who, pass it on, pay it forward, as they say. So what else? Well, there were a few other freebies that I picked up. Now, this is an apron. And Donna, the hostess with the mostest, she made these. She did all this embroidery. And I remember when she said she was doing this, and I said to myself, oh my God, this is going to take you forever. And she said it was pretty much hell. She had some problems with her embroidery machine. This is the thing. This is a rule about embroidery machines. When you are doing one thing, it works out fine. When you decide to do multiples of the same design, you run into problems. I don't know why. It's just the way of it is. And so she had some moments of hell with that, and she's really glad she got them done. But it's a really nice apron. I intend to wear it when I'm working on my quilts and things like that. So yeah, that was a freebie that really thrilled me. One of the ladies at the retreat made these in this little plastic bag here. It's a needle minder. It's a little booklet made of fabric with inside some little pieces of fabric or felt, I think they are. And you can stick your sewing needles, your hand sewing needles in it, or even your machine needles in it, and keep it handy, and keeps everything in one spot. So that's a really cute idea. So that was nice of her to do that. And then these came from, we had prizes, and Donna had gone through her books and things like that as she had at home that she no longer needed. So they were part of the prizes for different things that we had going. And there were a bunch of them left over. So I picked out these three because they looked interesting. This one is like using little pieces of scrap to make art quilts. This one is about making quilted clothing. Now, it's geared towards women's clothing, like vests and jackets and things like that. But Walter and I have been talking about the possibility of trying to make like a man's vest or even a jacket a quilted one. So I think Walter can probably take these designs in here and alter them enough that they are more, suitable for a male. And so I thought I'd pick that up as a reference. Whether we ever get to that kind of project or not, well, time will tell. And then over here, there was this kit for doing this Halloween applique kind of a thing. And I thought, well, that might be kind of fun. So I picked that up for myself as well. So these were freebies. So, that was nice. Now, we did have a scrap block challenge, and this is just some pictures of the scraps. I gave people a bag of scraps. They were odd cuts. You didn't know what you're going to get in the bag, and the challenge was to make a 6, 8, or 10-inch block. And then we put them on display, and everybody got to vote on them. More details about that procedure in the Idiot Quilter this week. But these are some of the blocks that were made. I especially love this one, and I think it was the big winner because of the detail. How small these little squares are and how precise they are. That's just incredible. And here are some more. And there were some really arty ones. Like I love this one with the cat, rear end out this way, head this way. That was fussy cut out of some of the scrap fabric that was in the bag. And the same with this little dog here. And this person did some thread painting around it. So they were all really, really good. So that was a lot of fun. And I brought them home with me with their permission, with the creator's permission, because I'm going to make them into a wall hanging or a small quilt. And I'll take it down to Ultimate Sewing, and they can, if they want, they could display it and, with something on it about the retreat, in anticipation of their next one. Now, this quilt, there was another man. Walter and I were not the only men at this retreat. There was another gentleman who joined the retreat, and he's only been quilting for a couple of years. But this is what he created on the weekend. This is he's making this as a wall hanging for his sister. And it's based on a piece of artwork that they had both seen by a famous painter, and I can't tell you who the painter was now because I can't remember the name. But he sort of based it on that very abstract contemporary design. So this is a modern piece, and his own design with it. And I think once he gets it squared up and he gets it bound in that, it's going to be a really nice piece. And I'm sure his sister's going to love it. And this is the gentleman that made it, Ted. And he has a real artistic flair. And I think at one point in time, he did a lot of professional photography and things. So he knows what he's doing when it comes to graphic design. And yeah, so that is a really cool piece. Okay, so those were pictures from the retreat. Oh, and you saw it at the beginning, but I'm going to show it to you again. Of course, the Kissin' Cousins made their appearance. And there they are. Matilda Mudslinger, the one with the teeth, and Gladass Happy Bum. And we made little postcards and handed them out when we made our entrance as the sisters to all of the people at the retreat. And so it's keep on quilting, love Matilda Mudslinger and Gladass Happy Bum. Just for fun. Actually, the masks that Walter made for us, for the COVID masks, well, they're a little scary. Yeah, especially Matilda. She's a little bit of a freak there, don't you think? Okay, so that takes us up to what's coming up. I've already talked about Craft and Chat. Links in the show notes below. And I'm on another retreat this coming weekend. But this one's virtual, and it's through the Quilters Way, the group that I belong to, online membership site. And we're having what's called Energize 5.0. Hard to believe that there's been 5 of these retreats since the Quilters Way started. And so we start off with a cocktail party on the Friday night, and then we have Saturday and Sunday from about 8 until 10 o'clock at night or whatever, quilting and doing whatever with it. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be fun. And I'll let you know how that all works out on next week's vlog. Okay, so that's it for me. I hope you have a good week. tune in tomorrow for the next episode of The Idiot Quilter, and there'll probably be an Idiot Quilter Presents a Musings, where I rattle on. And you're going to say, is that anything unusual? And and just as a side note, I've had a lot of new subscribers in the last couple of weeks. Well, since I posted the interview with Kate from the last Homely House, and welcome to all of you. I am very thrilled with the way my YouTube channel has been expanding since I did the interview with Kate. And I know it's because of doing that interview that really people have been able to find me. So I appreciate all the new viewers. And just to let you know, the statistics on the interview I've done with Kate are now over 23,000 views in 3 weeks. That is incredible. Just shows you how much people love Kate of the Last Homely House. And if you've never checked out her YouTube channel, you really need to. So thank you to all those of you that have come and subscribed to the channel. And I don't usually say this, but I am starting to say it. If you come and you watch but you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Because actually, and I know people say this all the time, it does help out the channel. Actually, it helps out my ego. I'll be honest about it. It makes me happy when I have more subscribers. I mean, it just, it's like Sally Fields. You love me. You really, really love me. Some of you will get that reference. Some of you may not. Whatever. But anyways, thank you for coming and subscribing. And I hope that you are getting something out of my channel. Okay. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.